Howdy, yokes, and welcome back to Bacon and Eggs. I'm Ethan Edgehill.
And I'm Mary Clay Watt.
And today we're having a party.
Or maybe we're going to get killed one by one.
So grab your lead pipes.
Or head to the secret passageway.
Because today we're bringing you...
Clue.
Clue was released on December 13th, 1985, which is exactly 12,300 days ago. It's released on a $15 million budget and didn't quite make that back at $14.6 million worldwide.
Such a bummer, because it's such a good one. I wonder what else.
Got a
Well, it came out in December, so I wonder what other, like, quote-unquote Christmas release movies were out at that time.
We'll find that out in 1 second, but it did manage to score an almost positive 59% on Rotten Tomatoes with an 86% audience score on Rotten Tomatoes and 36% on Metacritic. Now let me find out what December movie release.
Because if it's like Jurassic
1985.
Park, that I get.
It's not Jurassic Park. That was June 16th?
Sure.
1993?
Sure, sounds good.
It was a few months after I was born.
Oh.
It was Clue and The Color Purple.
Oh, well,
and
there you go.
Out of Africa.
Yeah, that'll do it. Academy Award winning Color Purple.
And Academy Award winning Out of Africa.
Yeah, well, poor Clue. Poor
yeah,
Tim
that'll
Curry.
do it. Yeah. And a chorus line came out.
Oh.
And The Jewel of the Nile.
Man, they had no chance.
And A Room with a View. So yeah, it had some movies I've actually heard of.
There were some bangers.
There were some heavy hitters there in December. Anyway, this movie got a whopping 59% and didn't make very much money at all. It actually didn't make any money. It lost money. But actually, I think this might be the first movie reviewed that lost money.
Really? Oh, sorry.
We've had some that came close, and we had some that didn't make very much money at all, but also didn't cost very much money at all.
Man. Well, I don't care, because we're talking about Clue, and it's a great movie.
No, this is a great movie. I love this movie. It had been a minute since I saw it for the first time.
Oh, yeah.
Well, not for the first time, since I saw it last. I've seen it several times. But real quick, do you have a positive review for me of this movie?
Yes, I do. Wesley Lovell from Cinema Site says, like a well-oiled machine, Clue uses slapstick and situational humor to tell a rather pointed story. And then there's another review that basically says, Tim Curry steals the show, which is accurate.
You can say that about most movies he's in. I have a review from Roger Ebert that just says,
oh no,
one ending is more than enough.
Oh, that's just uncalled for, sir.
I mean, to be fair, this is a very short movie.
Oh, yeah.
And it did spend a considerable amount of said short movie ending the movie 3 times.
Oh, yeah. So because this is, I think I've rediscovered, or not rediscovered, I think I discovered that this might be my favorite movie, ? Just because I enjoyed it so immensely watching it again. Anyway, and so I looked up all this trivia, and they shot 6 endings for each of the characters, but they decided to cut them down because it was gonna make the movie, they said, over 2.5 hours long.
Good Lord.
Yeah. So
well, okay.
And it's also, what I also thought was funny is that it's such a short movie, and yet there are painfully long scenes, when they're cutting and picking the matches to
yeah, and you gotta watch him do that for 5 minutes.
Yeah, it's such a short movie, and there are those painfully long scenes, but I get it's the style of the movie. I
mean, for sure, it does have a lot of the old murder mystery movies about it, and that therefore it plays a lot like a much older movie, even though it is from the 80s. And that was wild to me. Is this stars? Stars. He's a lead. It stars. What is his name?
Christopher Lloyd.
Christopher Lloyd. Yeah, I had to remember which Christopher I was talking about. Yeah, in the same year that Back to the Future came out.
I know, that was wild to me because I was like, this movie came out in 1985, but. I understand they had to have used wigs and makeup, I guess, when he's in Back to the Future, but even still, it looks like Back to the Future aged him, just as a person so much more. He looks so young, like just his skin and his face in Clue.
Well, have you? Because that's the thing is, like, he looks approximately maybe 5 or 6 years ago. He looked pretty much exactly like Doc Brown did.
Yeah.
In the movie, in real life. So it's like, this is definitely, you're getting the unadulterated Christopher Lloyd at this point. But it took me a minute to even recognize him, because I was like, that can't be.
It is.
It is.
And it's also
Christopher Lloyd.
Colonel Mustard. I will always forever associate that actor with being the principal on Sabrina the Teenage Witch.
I have never watched that show in my life.
Oh,
to tell you the truth.
watched it and also it was like right after I made that mental connection in my head that they used a thunder sound effect, which is the exact same sound effect that they use for something in Sabrina the Teenage Witch. I don't know how I remember that, but I was like, that's the exact same sound effect.
Okay, I can get with that. Yeah, no, I did very much like this movie. I'd forgotten how funny it was.
Yeah.
But it struggles a couple times with the comedic timing in the movie. I will give it that. Like, they did the dog poop on the shoe joke approximately 1 or 2 too many times.
Yeah. I think it was, I'm trying to go over my head, because it's the rule of 3, and I think they did it 4 times or something.
It was 4 or 5. To the point where the last time they did it, it was like, okay, guys.
Yeah.
Are you gonna? Because at first I was like, are they gonna do this all 6 of them? I'm gonna die watching this.
Yeah.
Like, my soul's actually just gonna leave my body out, because I watched this on an airplane.
Which is funny you say that, because this movie is very much like Airplane.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, it's almost got the same beginning.
I know, yeah.
It might have even been the same music.
Oh, I think I saw that it's the same composer. IMDb
that doesn't surprise me.
Coming in.
It's not the same creative team behind it.
Yeah,
sure.
I was really curious, because it has a lot of that same. I mean, honestly, they just don't make them like this anymore, because the dialogue and everything is so. Some parts
this is a masterwork of dialogue.
Yeah, it's so quick-witted. There's so many times where I had to I made myself go back, 30 seconds so I could watch it again and fully appreciate whatever the bit was that just happened.
Oh, for sure. This is Amy Sherman Palladino level dialogue.
Oh, I thought you were just about to tell me that Amy Sherman Palladino wrote this movie.
I would.
Oh my God. I was like, that's not possible.
For those of you who don't know, Amy Sherman Palladino is the creator and writer of the TV show Gilmore Girls,
yes.
Which is known for never having a single, even millisecond of silence.
Well, and the converse of that for people who have never watched Gilmore Girls is Aaron Sorkin, who also is very quick dialogue. Yeah, no seconds of silence. To the point where when Gilmore Girls came out, people were there were theories that Aaron Sorkin ghost wrote on Gilmore Girls because it's so similar.
Those of you who are unaware, Aaron Sorkin is the writer and creator of the TV show The West Wing,
yes.
and approximately 497 failed television shows that are all great.
Newsroom.
The Newsroom.
That's a good one.
Sports Night, Studio 60 on the Sunset Strip, and he also wrote the movie The Social Network.
I forget about that one. We all forget about The Social Network, but
love that movie. Absolutely love that movie. Will come to bat for The Social Network.
I don't know why, but the only thing I remember about The Social Network is that we watched a scene of it in one of my Sunday school classes in high school. Could not tell you why or how that is connected to church or the Bible or Jesus, but there you have it.
I mean, have you not watched God Friended Me? That's what that's called, right?
I hope it's not Unfriended Me. Wait, are you telling me?
I'm sorry. What about season 3? There's no way that show's been on long enough to have a season 3. Oh, I guess they're just asking if it's been renewed. Season 2 of God Friended Me airs on September 29th. TBH, I did not think it would get picked back up for a second season.
Oh, man.
That's shocking. But it's got a 7 out of 10.
There's so many bad shows and so many good ones that get canceled.
See, that's a TV show, though. I don't want to spend too long on this, but that's a TV show that, the premise is so interesting that, it makes sense. I feel like it would be a good TV show, but the way it was advertised, I thought it was like a TLC reality show about people who believe that God was their Facebook friend.
Now that I would watch.
That's what the freaking commercials looked like.
Oh boy. Yeah, I can't say I've ever watched a single episode of God Friended Me.
Oh, I don't watch CBS or NBC sitcoms. I
was going to say, at this point, I can't really watch live television anymore because I don't have network television anymore.
I don't miss it at all. But no, the dialogue in this movie is just absolutely phenomenal, especially when you have an actor like Tim Curry doing most of it.
Where is his Oscar for this movie? Let alone just if you could give awards to actors for even just like singular scenes, just the end of it where he's reenacting the entire night alone deserves recognition.
I believe that.
He's so good. And the other thing is that you can tell how much fun, and the other cast too, I think, you can tell just how much fun all of the actors are having playing these parts and doing it, and like just putting every ounce of like comedic chops or I don't know, like over dramatic pauses or whatever into it. And especially like Mrs. Peacock at the dinner scene when she just like has a little psychotic breakdown, and that just kind of opens the night. Oh, it's ironic too, because she's like, this is an icebreaker. Let's break the ice. And it kind of breaks the ice for the movie too, because you're like, oh, she's going to be insane the entire night. Okay, I can get behind this.
I can definitely get behind that. I tried to figure out if Tim Curry had ever won an Oscar, and the only thing I found by Googling that was that Tim Curry was in a 1991 movie called Oscar, which got a 12% on Rotten Tomatoes.
So close. I mean, I get why he's never won an Oscar. Because
Has he not?
Wait, isn't that what you were saying?
I don't know. I'm just telling you that was all I found by Googling Tim Curry Oscar.
Well, I'm assuming if
because he was in a movie called Oscar.
I'm assuming if he had won an Oscar, it would have come up. Let's see. I don't want to watch that. Tim Curry Awards.
Yeah, no.
Screw this.
Never
my
won an
internet's
Oscar.
too slow. I mean, I get it, because he's usually, except for, this movie and, what's the other one? Rocky Horror. And a lot of the movies I know him from are, like, very particular, like, character parts.
Yeah, I can get behind that. He's been nominated for a couple Tonys.
Oh, yeah, because he's in what I think is one of the most underappreciated musicals of all time, Spam-A-Lot, which is the musical version of Monty Python and the Holy Grail. It's fantastic.
Yes, he was nominated for a Tony for Spam-A-Lot, but did not win.
Yeah, unsurprising.
He did win a What's On Stage.com award for Best Actor in a Musical for Spam-A-Lot.
Good. He was King Arthur, by the way. Which I think is hilarious. Like, how did they go about getting Tim Curry for Spam-A-Lot?
They probably said, hey, Tim Curry, do you want to be in Spam-A-Lot? Here's some money. And he was like, yes, I'm not busy. This sounds fun. I've only got 13 more Series of Unfortunate Events books to narrate.
What? He doesn't narrate any of them.
What are you talking about?
Tim Curry does not narrate any Series of Unfortunate Events books or movies or TV series.
He narrates the audiobooks for 11 of 13 of the Series of Unfortunate Events books. He was actually nominated for a Grammy Award for The Bad Beginning.
Are you kidding?
So you can kindly off and die. Have you never listened to the Series of Unfortunate Events books narrated by Tim Curry? It's the best thing ever.
I read the books when I was, 9, and still...
Yeah, and now you gotta go back and listen to them be read to you by Tim Curry.
Do you know what other books I'm currently reading at the moment that I don't have time to also be listening to?
It's the Series of Unfortunate Events books. They take like 37 seconds. Look, they're like 12 pages long.
But there's 13 of them.
There are 13 of them. Listen to one per month for slightly more than a year.
Oh my gosh. I don't know. I can't commit to that. Also,
11 out of 13 are narrated by Tim Curry, and they're awesome. And he almost won a Grammy Award for Best Spoken Word Album for Children.
Spoken Word Album?
Best Spoken Word. I have never felt more like I can win a Grammy in my entire life. If Best Spoken Word Album for Children.
Yeah, you can do it. 2020 goals. Hindsight's 2020. How many like high school and college graduation classes next year do you think their slogan's going to be hindsight's 2020?
Fun fact, the first person to ever win the Grammy Award for Best Spoken Word Album for Children is Audrey Hepburn.
Good for her.
In 1994 for Audrey Hepburn's Enchanted Tales.
Man, no. Look, I also want to keep a Series of Unfortunate Events in this I don't know, like protective bubble, because they were my favorite books ever as a child, which honestly I think explains a lot about who I am as a person today. That as in my formative years, I was reading a series of unfortunate events and everyone else was screaming at me to read Harry Potter. And I was like, I was the dumbest elementary schooler ever. And I was like, no, I don't like Harry Potter because everyone else likes it. I was like that annoying, quote unquote, hipster kid before, I don't know, you lived across the hall from him in your dorm room at college. Like, I was that kid. I was that annoying. And then I read Harry Potter later on and was like, you know what? These books are pretty good.
They are good. The series of unfortunate events books are less good, but they are much more narrated by Tim Curry.
Watch it. They're great.
Yes, they're great. I like them. They're not as good as Harry Potter.
I don't know. They're on two different levels.
Yes! One of them is the best-selling and possibly best book series of all time. The other one is a bunch of books about some kids that are sad.
What, you don't like
they're very
reading?
Good, but they're about...
I mean...
They're literally just about sad kids. They're about sad kids who everything bad in the world happens to them because of a guy that, for some reason, the police can't capture.
Neil Patrick Harris was awesome in the Netflix series, just saying.
The show went downhill real quick.
Excuse me?
I could not finish season 2, straight up.
What?
I got super bored.
What? Oh, well, you know what? Wait, no. Because The Miserable Mill was in season 1. What is season 2? Oh, the Austere Academy, the Eretz Elevator. I don't even remember. Man, give it another try. I
probably will.
I feel like our entire friendship is based on me telling you that you should enjoy things more that are actually very enjoyable, such as the Netflix A Series of Unfortunate Events TV show, Zelda Breath of the Wild.
I'll give Breath of the Wild another chance when I have time to play video games again, which has been a minute. I'm busy. I'm busy a lot.
Same.
Anyway, so let's talk about Clue. Let's talk about Clue.
I don't even know how to start. Like, first, do you have a favorite line or bit from the movie?
Oh God, I probably. Here's the problem with this is like this movie has so many words in it that I have trouble remembering what any of them are.
I know. Oh, it's so good.
And I'm looking at the like IMDb quotes page, and this is the longest quotes page I've ever seen.
Well, because a lot of the bits and the jokes and the dialogue are like wordplay, and like there's this whole bit of let me see. I wrote it down. Where is it? Every now and then I wrote down just like one liner. So first of all, every once in a while I would just like let out just totally what's the word I'm looking for? I don't know what the word I'm looking for is, but like I would just go bah! Like that every now and then on one liner. Why is the car
I did not
stopped?
do that because I was on an airplane.
Well, that makes sense. I was sitting alone in my living room, which I swear isn't as sad as that sounds. But there's why is the car stopped? It's frightened. I'm the butler.
Oh, yeah.
I'm the butler.
Just immediately.
What do? I buttle.
I buttle. I'm the butler.
Yeah.
What do you do? I buttle.
Oh, and then there's like another wordplay is one where Miss White goes, he threatened to kill me in public. And someone says, why would he want to kill you in public? And he goes, no, I think he threatened in public to kill her. And all of this stuff is, like, as I'm saying it now, it doesn't sound funny, but when it happens so quickly and they just move on. Oh, that's like another thing I appreciate about this movie is that it is very funny, but it's not like we're going to be in your face about how funny this is. Like, you either catch the joke or you don't. And if you don't catch it, then it's already moved on and it's gone.
For sure. It definitely seems like they took a lot of cues from the Airplane movies when they wrote this.
Did Airplane come out before or after this?
Before, I'm pretty sure.
Airplane. You're probably going to get it faster because your internet's 1980. Better. Yep.
1980. So yeah, a few years before this. But like that line of the like, I'm pretty sure he said, what was it that he wants to kill you? Pretty sure he said in public that he wants to kill her. That's an Airplane line right there.
Yeah. And there's a lot of like double negative talk, which I tried to keep up with and I rewound a billion times to just try and like keep up with it.
What is it? It's a big building with doctors, but that's not important right now.
It's a good movie. Oh, and then Miss White also has some great. I was just thinking of the little, the little girl on Airplane who's like, "No, I take my coffee like I take my men," and then the boy is sitting next to her. Or maybe that was some other characters. I don't know. But it also just reminded me of like Miss White also has some classic like one-liners about men as well. There's husbands should be like Kleenex, soft, strong, and disposable.
Yeah. She's got some definitely she's got some takes on her husbands.
Yeah. Which I think I might have missed it, or I don't know if it was cut or something, but all the time when I search for Clue gifs, this one gif of Miss White saying, it was a matter of life and death. After he was dead, I had a life. And I don't know if I missed that or not, or if they cut it, but I don't know. I didn't catch it in the movie, but like, that's a great, just lots of great one-liners in this thing.
Your first husband also disappeared. Well, he was an illusionist, but he never reappeared. He wasn't a very good illusionist.
Yeah, I never said he was a good illusionist.
Yeah.
And then
she totally killed him.
The whole bit about who is it? Doc Brown.
How many husbands have you had? Mine or other women's?
And then there's the bit about I don't remember. I guess Professor Plum, I think it was him, working for the UN and being a psychologist. He's like, "So you used to work for psychotics and lunatics, right?" "Yes, and now I work for the UN. So your work has not changed."
Yeah.
Great. And then
hot take.
Also, I just
flaming hot take.
Flames on the side of my face.
On the side of my face.
So fun fact, that was ad-libbed, and you can see in the background, what's his face? Colonel Mustard, like, trying not to break character, and you can see his, like, you can see, like, both the confusion flash over his face, like, what is she saying? And then also him trying not to laugh. And then they cut between all the different people, I think, because she was just having them, I guess she just like made them all laugh. Man, what I wouldn't give to see like the bloopers for this movie.
Oh yeah, I wish this had come out in the age of like, you know, DVD extras, where that was a thing.
I think I saw there was some documentary that someone is doing about Clue. Because I was looking up on YouTube, because there's this one clip I wanted to play over and over again, because it's it's when Tim Curry is reenacting the night, and he goes, "And it gave the murderer just enough time to grab the dagger, run down the hall." And I don't know why, but that one clip is the clip that my friends in high school and we would rewind it and watch it over and over again. Anyway, and so I was on YouTube trying to find this, and there's a documentary or something about this movie, I guess for it wouldn't be the 30th anniversary, because that already happened, I guess. I don't know, the 35th anniversary? Maybe it was supposed to happen for the 30th and it didn't. I don't know. Clue.
And it's about the movie and not the board game?
Documentary. Yes, it's about the movie. Oh, okay. That's something that like never occurred to me really, that like this is based on a board game that is probably advertised as like, it's a fun game for like family board game night and like, you know, family friendly game and, you know, kids can play it and everything. And this is like a dirty movie based on this board game that probably families play together.
Right. But this is like a good, wholesome family movie for back in 1985.
I don't know about that. I don't know if this is exactly wholesome.
I mean, it's almost entirely non-profane.
That did, surprise me when I like thought back about it. I was like, there are no swears in this entire movie. Like there are all
There's one.
What is it?
When Wadsworth is like, "Frankly, Scarlett, I don't give a damn."
Oh, I don't consider damn to be a swear word.
Well, you know, parents might.
I guess,
So we make a clean show, and I get this all the time, especially from people, the British, who are like, "Oh, what do you mean? Damn's not a swear word over here."
Yeah, well, they also say another word quite frequently.
And I'm like, yeah. I get it, British people. It might be different over there, but like we have a zero tolerance policy in my Discord because we're trying to keep things family friendly. And you might say that to your kids, but I don't have kids, so I don't know what I would say to them.
I guess.
But I get it's different in different countries. I understand. I'm here for it. But still counts. Also, a great callback to 1939's Gone with the Wind.
Yes, it was very great.
What was I looking up? I was looking something up.
Yeah, that was like
I have Google open.
Google the Clue documentary, because that's what I Google searched, and it's called Who Done It? The Clue documentary, and they interviewed the cast and everything. But so I want to talk briefly while Ethan's looking up whatever he's looking up about how I every now and then forget and then remember that when I was in English in the 11th grade, we had to do this project where you made a board game as a form of review for the final exam. And my group got the Crucible, and I came up with the Clucible. And we created a Crucible-themed version of Clue. And the way you would, like, accuse the murderer is you would say, like, I saw Goody Proctor with the devil in the church with the ladle, or whatever. And
oh, my God. That's awesome.
Yeah, it was great. I also...
Do you still have that game?
No. I also didn't at all have to review for the Crucible because earlier that year I was also in our school's production of the Crucible, which is the worst play ever to be written. Sorry, Arthur Miller. He's dead, but it's not a good show. It's also about communism, which is a red herring. That was totally unintentional.
Yeah, this movie had a lot to say about communism in the year of our Lord, 1985.
Well, it said in 1954, so...
Yeah, but it's definitely making some commentary on, like, the wall was just about to come down in 1985, like when they made this movie. It was a few more years after that, but the wall was just about to come down. I think we'd had enough of the whole communism scare at this point. So it was obviously set during McCarthyism. You know, they talked about the House Un-American Activities Committee. Got some real AP history ID terms in there.
I was going to say that I remember nothing about history.
I remember McCarthy and the Red Scare just because we learned about it so much in so many different classes and how everybody was terrified of communists in the 50s.
Well, it's funny because I remember nothing about learning. I don't remember. I'm sure we learned about that in my history class, but the only thing that I remember about learning about McCarthyism and everything is when we read The Crucible, because that was what it was like technically about, is because it was written during that time and it wasn't about like hunting witches. It was actually about hunting commies.
Right. Yeah, I don't know. I don't remember a whole lot about The Crucible.
It's okay.
To tell you the truth. Yeah, I don't really want to. He did also write the movie though.
What? Oh, Arthur Miller.
Arthur Miller, yeah.
Oh, yeah, isn't Winona Ryder in that movie?
What'd you say?
Isn't Winona Ryder in the movie?
Yeah, Winona Ryder, and that guy that everybody always talks about being the most amazing actor of all time, Daniel Day-Lewis, that guy.
Oh.
He plays John Proctor.
Yeah, I could have figured. I haven't seen. I feel like we probably watched the movie in my English class, but again, since I was in the play, I was like, I don't need to do this now.
Oh, we absolutely watched The Crucible in our English class, and I cannot tell you how 1996 it looks.
Oh, it's so
it's bad.
1996. I also remember we watched the old Great Gatsby movie, and there's this one scene in the book where they talk about how hot it is, but they upped it to like 5 billion degrees in the movie, and there's just this one scene where everyone is like drenched in sweat. And that's all I remember.
The Robert Redford one?
Sure. Is he in that? I don't know.
Yeah, he was Gatsby.
Oh, yeah, sure. Let's go with that.
Yeah, no, that's one of the most boring movies I've ever seen in my whole life.
Did you see the Leonardo DiCaprio one?
I love the DiCaprio one.
I haven't
wholeheartedly. Love that movie.
That's one of those ones that I still haven't seen, but I'm like, I want to see it someday.
I absolutely love that movie.
So, yeah, because I heard mixed, I don't know, reviews or feelings about the remake of Great Gatsby. But if you like it, I guess. But that also means nothing because you don't like Spider-Verse.
What are you talking about? Have you even listened to our episode?
Yeah. You liked it.
How do you get that I don't like Spider-Verse?
You liked it okay.
I didn't think it was the most amazing movie ever made, and I'm not going to continue to apologize for that.
Anyway, you want to know what I think the most amazing movie ever made is? Clue! Because...
No, I don't think you think that. It might be your favorite movie. I don't think you think this is the greatest movie ever made. I think it's
currently my favorite movie just because I was so delighted when I watched it again because I forgot how much I enjoyed it. And I was like, this is a very enjoyable movie. It
really is.
So I hadn't seen it. I wasn't introduced to this movie until I think my senior year in high school. And after that, my friends and I, when we watched it, I think there was like one friend who was like, how have you not seen this movie? I watch it like once every weekend, basically. And so we watched it. And after that, we would just quote it nonstop. In particular, we would quote, the run down the hall. And then we would also say, our lives are in danger, you beatnik. Which
the guy that ends up being like the FBI police chief. Yeah.
But, and I, like, there's just so much I forgot I forgot about the singing telegram.
Oh, yeah, same. That was a shocking moment.
Man, like, it's just so good. I appreciate it. So, first, in particular, I want to call out the perfect composition of the I'm not shouting bit and the candlestick falling on his head. Because it is so perfectly timed, and the Foley sound effects of like the candlestick falling on his head and then clattering to the floor at the same time as hearing Wadsworth's body hit the floor is so perfectly composed. And I just really appreciate it when movie directors or, I don't know, writers or whatever have the eye for comedic bits like that, because it could have very easily not been that funny, but I died laughing.
Right. Absolutely phenomenal. Like, and I didn't quite get a lot of that because, again, I was like watching on an airplane.
Yeah.
So it's tough. And I had the subtitles on, and the subtitles aren't timed that well.
Yeah.
And so, like, it cut him off in the middle of saying the whole, like, I'm not shouting. Well, okay,
I'm not
maybe
shouting.
I am, or whatever.
All right, I am. I'm shouting.
Right, I am.
I'm shouting.
Yeah, it cut him off right in the middle of that to go, open bracket, thud, close bracket. And I was like, well, now I know there's going to be a thud. I didn't want to know there was going to be a thud until after the thud happens.
Yeah, I will say that is the shame about closed captioning, is that it gives away stuff before it happens. So I watch Handmaid's Tale with captions on because there's a lot of like mumbling or quiet whispering or stuff that like they'll say that if you miss it or you're not paying attention, you have to rewind because you're like, great, now I don't know what they're talking about. And it totally will just give away whatever like big dramatic plot point is about to be revealed.
Do not tell me a thing about Handmaid's Tale. I don't want to know. I don't want to know, okay? I don't want to know. I'm halfway done with the book. Shut up.
Oh, well, the book is apparently only like the plot of season 1.
I'm sure.
And then season 2 and 3 diverges from there.
Well, there's about to be a sequel next month. Hey, listen. Hey,
what?
Hey, listen.
What?
I don't want to know anything, okay? I want to know nothing. I want to know nothing, okay?
Alexis Bledel is in the series.
I didn't want to know that.
That would surprise me. I was like, Rory Gilmore, what are you doing here?
I'm halfway through the book. It's very, very good. It's a very good book. It's an exceptionally, I don't know, because apparently I've heard some people have told me that I'm going to hate the ending and the ending of the book is bad. I have no idea. But
I think she
currently
just
it's a very
released
good book.
a new book or is releasing a new book.
It comes out next month. I just said that.
Oh, I missed that.
God, have you tried listening?
I was busy Googling Margaret Atwood to see what the name of the next book is.
She's got a sequel coming out next month.
Man, she's old. Let's hope she doesn't die anytime soon, because otherwise...
Yeah, she's written a lot of books.
Yeah. Short stories, My Life as a Bat. Interesting. Oh, boy.
Honestly, mood.
She's written some interesting stuff, people. So
I don't know if any other part of it is good, but the first half of Handmaid's Tale is really good.
Oh.
It's exceptionally well written dystopian fiction that takes place from the point of view of somebody who was not born into the dystopia, but instead had to watch it crumble around her from the beginning.
Yep.
Which is such a wild take, because every other like big didactic piece of dystopian fiction occurs like with somebody, usually a man. Let's be straight here. Usually a man is like born into it, like, and even like Katniss Everdeen was born into the system, and she had no.
Yeah, it was 75 years ago.
Right, it was 74 years ago. That's enough for her mother and her mother's mother to have been born into the system.
It's also terrifying because the way...
Yeah, it's starting to feel a little bit predictive, but we're not going to get into that here because that's not a thing we talk about on Baconandeggs.
Yeah, of course. It's like extremely terrifying.
Let me just say this. Hulu could not have picked a better time to make a TV show about
100%. And that's also what's terrifying, man. I wonder
the
when they got the idea that they're like, this is it. This is our time. Let's go.
So they re-released the book in 2017 with an introduction written by Margaret Atwood. Mm-hmm. So it's written in was actually released in 1986, I think. It's written in the early 80s. But it's got an updated introduction by Margaret Atwood, and she answers a couple questions that people have had about the series, like stuff that doesn't necessarily review plot points or whatever. But one of those questions is, she goes, "I'm often asked, is The Handmaid's Tale a prediction?" And I was like, oof, what am I about to read? And then it started, and I was like, this sounds alarmingly familiar.
Yep. Well, and there are just a lot of jokes about like, all right, let's escape this current insane world where we're hearing all these stories from women and escape that world for a bit to go into this other world where, oh, look at that, women are being oppressed. What a fun TV series for escapism. Nervous.
Right, and then you got people like Kim Kardashian throwing Handmaid's Tale parties where they all dress as handmaids.
Freaky. Oh my god.
It's almost like you don't even get it.
I saw those videos of her like going through it, and she has like two friends already waiting inside or whatever as she's doing like a tour, and they're already wearing the cloaks, and she's like, "Blessed be the fruit ladies," and I'm like, no, don't.
It's almost like you just don't get it at all.
Oh, what's also funny is that I think it was last Halloween or maybe the Halloween before, there were sexy Handmaid's Tale costumes that like Spirit Halloween stores were selling. And
Spirit Halloween will make a sexy anything costume.
Yeah, but it was just like extra funny because it's like that is the literal opposite of point of what a handmaid is.
Yeah, Spirit Halloween knows no laws. They will pop up in the like broken, abandoned husk of a Ross Dress for Less, and they will show up out of nowhere, slinging their inappropriate, it's like, let's be sexy nurses and sexy doctors and sexy lawyers and sexy receptionists and sexy school teachers and sexy handmaids. What? Hold on. What was that last one? They're like, just focus on the firefighter thing.
Don't worry about it. I just love the ridiculous costumes that they come up with for like couples costumes. Like there's one that's like a plug and an outlet, which is older listeners understand. Younger listeners, ask your mom and dad about that. Or maybe don't. But
yeah, please do not.
Mom and Dad, what's this I hear about a couple's costume being a plug and an outlet? Hey, look like at this sexy Handmaid's Tale costume.
It's Spirit Halloween. Like, they don't have the rights to anything. They have to come up with, like, generic costumes.
That they come up with, like, ridiculous names where it's like, okay, this is obviously a Mario costume, but it'll be, like, red...
Italian plumber.
Yeah, Italian plumber, red overall man with mustache and hat.
Right. Yeah, Spirit Halloween, we're on to you. Let's just say that, Spirit Halloween. The jig is up.
Oh, man. I love it. I haven't seen a Spirit Halloween store pop up yet, but I was just at AC Moore yesterday, and all the Halloween stuff is here.
Oh, it done been out, girl.
It's officially Halloween. It's Halloween town.
I went to AC Moore to get, because that's where I go to get frames. Because they have the cheapest frames. That's literally all I ever buy there.
They're so cheap. Also,
it's all I ever buy there is frames.
Download their app because they always have a 50% off coupon for each week.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, no. Well ahead of that one. Buying frames over here. But I was in there to buy some frames in mid-July, and they had all the freaking Halloween stuff out. And I was like, can I live? Can we just have summer for like a little bit?
So here's the thing.
Just like a little bit?
I am normally 100% in that camp of like, it's September. Can we wait until maybe November to bring out the Christmas stuff? Or, like I was in a store getting stuff for I was in the grocery store getting stuff for 4th of July, and there was a back to school display set up. And listeners, most people in where I live don't go back to school until after Labor Day. So setting up a back to school display in the beginning of July is ridiculously early. However, Halloween is my favorite time of year. It's my favorite holiday. And so if that means that I walk into a store when it's 95 degrees out and I see ghosts and skeletons, I'm here for it.
I had a pretty rough October last year, and I'm not particularly looking forward to this October. And the last thing I really want in October is spookiness. So I'm not particularly looking forward to Halloween this year.
Understandable.
If I'm just being straight up.
Yeah, understandable.
But I get that other people like the spookiness, but I by the time that October 1st comes around, I'm ready for Christmas.
Mm-hmm. I was gonna. It's just I'm just one of those people that I'm like, I get tired of Christmas music within 3 days. So when I start hearing Christmas music in November, I'm losing my mind within 2 weeks.
So it's like, I run the Bacon and Eggs Discord server. Obviously, you get joined for $3 a month. It's less than the price of one Lego coffee per year. But I run the Bacon and Eggs Discord server, and we do like fun little nicknames in the Discord server. And last year, we had everybody have spooky nicknames for Halloween. It was like everybody had pumpkins and all kinds of stuff. And there's lots and lots and lots and lots and lots of spooky emojis that you can use for your nicknames.
You mean spoopy?
And yeah, I mean spoopy. Whatever. Cool. You got it. We're following. Anyway, and so like it's October 31st. And then that comes and goes, and it's like, what do? I got to change all the spooky nicknames because spooky time's gone, but I can't change them to like, first of all, we have plenty of international people that don't celebrate Thanksgiving at all.
This is true.
Let alone on the correct date, Canadians.
I got really nervous.
What am I going to do? Put a turkey emoji in every single person's name? Because there's like a turkey emoji, and it's just with the animals. It's not even like a Thanksgiving emoji. And Thanksgiving is a dumb holiday anyway. It doesn't deserve an entire month.
True.
So I made everybody all Christmassy because I'm like, man, I'm kind of bummed. I could really use some joy. And it's like, I made it Christmassy and Hanukkah-y and Kwanzaa-y and festival-y and snowy and stuff. Because it's like 100 million snow emojis and Santa emojis and tree emojis and menorahs and Tannenbaums and all kinds of stuff. And there was a bunch of people in Discord that were just like, it's November 1st. How dare you do Christmas?
Or you just do what I did last year with my Twitter name, which if anyone out there can help me come up with a better Halloween themed Twitter name than Scary Claywatt, with a bunch of
There is not a better
ghost
one. There is not a better one. I remember
tweet at
last year before I even knew who you were, I saw that you changed your Twitter name to Scary Clay, and I was like, oh wow, that's really good.
It's not, but I made that my Twitter name, I think, until January. This all goes back to how I read a series of unfortunate events in my formative years. There was
you're not allowed to keep Scary Clay until or after October 31st this year.
Nah.
I will put the foot down.
Nah, I'm one of those people
I will hack your Twitter.
On October 1, I'm like, happy 1st of Halloween! And then I keep doing that until December 1. Because I have a personal rule that
November 1st is the first day of Christmas.
I cannot listen to Christmas music until December because I will lose my... Oh! Spotify was playing an ad for a Christmas music playlist 2 weeks ago. And I nearly threw my computer out the window. Or I could have just shut Spotify off, but then I would have to sit alone with my thoughts at work, and that's just not fun. But
you know what's truthfully horrifying right now, though?
What?
The fact that it's so late in the year already that we're having to have this conversation. Where did 2019 go? Like, how in God's name is it already August 17th?
Yeah, it's weird because...
Horrifying. The word you're looking for is horrifying.
Well, the first
you can say it.
Half of what year is this? 2019 was just completely taken up by my sister's wedding. Cause I still lived at home, with my parents. So I was there like in the midst of all the planning and everything. And I was also a bridesmaid, and I'm also, the sister of the bride. And so I was just it was like taking over everything. And that was in May. And so after the wedding, I was like, oh my gosh, there's like an entire other part of the year that I can experience now. But at the same time, it was like half of the year is gone. How did this happen?
Well, yeah, it's like in the last 2 months, I've spent like 30 days traveling. So.
Oh, have you been to California? I hadn't heard.
Yeah, I went to California like 2 months ago. Ugh, so tired of that joke.
Were you on a remote island that lost power? Because I hadn't heard.
Yeah.
Which, by the way, you were like, this week I was like, man, I could really use a vacation. And you just replied with, it's hot. And I was like, yes, but it is also hot here.
I don't think no, hold on. I'm from Virginia. I get the hot thing. I've been to Charlotte, North Carolina, the hottest place in the world. I get it. It's a different level of hot down there.
Was it was it a wet hot?
It was like a 79% humidity hot.
See, that's what it's been like here in Richmond for like the last
That's not
week.
true. That's not true.
No,
I've been to Richmond. Richmond's never that bad. Richmond's never that bad.
Were you in Richmond this past week? Because it was that bad. It was like
it wasn't that bad.
You walked outside and you could see the humidity like a haze in front of you. And yes, I know it wasn't fog. I know the difference between fog.
That's not humidity. That's just the gross factory life of Richmond. It's the tobacco smoke. It's just a fog from the Philip Morris plant.
Because tobacco is still a major cash crop of Jamestown folks. For those of you who didn't grow up in Virginia, that's like one of the main things we learned as fourth graders is tobacco is the cash crop of Virginia.
Right, and like it still is.
And that's how Jamestown made money.
You do know that like a lot of the world's cigarettes are made like 10 minutes south of where you live.
Yes. Kids, don't smoke. Don't do it. It's not cool.
Don't Juul either. Stop it.
Just stop it. You look ridiculous. Do you want to know what you're doing? Our generation, my age group, we were like single-handedly making there to be a huge like decrease, a drop in teenage smoking statistics. And y'all are ruining it. You're ruining it because of vaping. Man, I've never felt as old as I feel right now. But it's true. Stop vaping. Stop juuling. Stop smoking. You're not cool. And I'm saying this as someone who is not desperately needing, but I need to go use a puff of my inhaler because I'm an asthmatic. And just keep your lungs clean.
So you're going to go hit your vape is what you're saying.
Yes. No.
Hit that fat asthma vape.
Yeah, it's
You can go do that if you need to. We can
no, I'm good. Nah, okay. I actually already did it this morning and I'm supposed to wait a couple hours in between hits.
Yeah, double dose in there.
Yeah, it's lit.
Getting wild here on a Saturday morning.
That's why I woke up early this morning because I wasn't breathing properly. Kids don't smoke. It's fine.
I don't think that point quite came across how you wanted it to, Mary Clay.
What?
Because you were just like, I woke up because I wasn't breathing properly. Kids don't smoke.
Yeah, and are you
okay?
What? I don't smoke. Is that what you're saying? What?
That's what it sounded like. Is that you just said you have asthma because you used to smoke?
No, I was born with asthma because my body is literally crippled from my toes to my jaw, including my lungs. I was that kid.
At least you're not crippled above your jaw.
Yeah. Hopefully, theoretically, the brain is still intact. But I mean, knock on wood. Let's hope it stays that way. Let's hope I don't lose my mind. Which I will if I hear Christmas music before December. And that's what you call a callback, people. I am a comedy writer. Speaking of comedy, do you like my segues?
I do. You know what? Hold on.
What?
Speaking of segues.
I was going to say, it looks like you're thinking hard about something.
I was. Well, actually, I was just reading a thing in Discord because I'm planning something right now. But, speaking of segues, I was just, as you heard from Mary Clay earlier, I just spent a week in Key West, right? And this is a small island where they have pretty much every whacked out form of transportation you could possibly imagine. There's people just riding go-karts in the middle of the street, and there's no rules to who can rent a scooter and just ride it around. Not like a bird scooter, but like a gas-powered Vespa, and just ride it around. But you know what I didn't see a single one of? A Segway. No Segway tours of the island.
What a shame.
They had people doing bike tours where like a whole group of people got on bikes and rode around.
Fun fact, I, as a small child, for multiple Christmases in a row, asked for a Segway scooter, thinking that I would get it, not understanding how unbelievably expensive they are.
Yeah, they're thousands of dollars.
I was like an 8-year-old. It was probably from when I was like, I don't know, 7 to age 11, probably. I asked for a Segway scooter, and instead my family would just give me a different iteration of a scooter that wasn't a Segway. So I got like a Razor scooter, and then one year I got, it was like a trike scooter, and it had, instead of it being a single, like, platform that you stand on with a wheel in the front and a wheel in the back, there was a wheel in the front, and then these two separate platforms that you put your feet on with two wheels in the back, like a tricycle, which I never figured out how to use. You're supposed to like alternate your weight back and forth from side to side and somehow like swivel yourself forward, and I never got it. And like, I just got a lot of scooters that weren't Segways, and my brain was just didn't connect that they were extremely
expensive. The current model,
expensive.
the Segway i2 SE personal transporter, is $6,000.
Oh, that's gone up quite a bit, because I remember at one point my dad was like, come here, let's look at the internet. Let's see what the internet has to say. And it showed that a Segway was like $3,000. So,
well, I think they've probably come a little bit in advancement of the Segway family of products. Although you can get all kinds of wild things from Segway.
Meanwhile, a hoverboard is $100. Holy cow, those are a lot less expensive than I ever would have thought. A hoverboard on Amazon is $122. I thought that would be way more expensive. That's concerning, because there's probably a lot of kids who get hoverboards for Christmas who probably shouldn't have.
Which is crazy, because like a freaking one wheel is like $1,700.
Oh, what?
A one wheel?
What is this? I've probably seen
They're the
before. Oh, yeah.
Those.
Well, that just looks silly.
Yeah, they're fun though.
Those
things rip.
That being said, a Segway and a hoverboard also look silly.
Yeah, I mean, if you're riding around a Segway, you look dumb.
Were you there when hoverboards got banned at CNU?
Yeah.
Well,
I wasn't there, but my girlfriend was there, and she lived in one of the East Campus dorms, and there was like a big sign all over the place.
One of them like caught on fire or something charging or whatever, and then CNU banned them. Which is also ridiculous, because at CNU, unless you lived off campus, you had no reason to have to like bike to class or use a skateboard or anything, because you could get everywhere within 10 minutes.
I used to, when I was a freshman, and we longboarding was a big thing, and I used to do that for a while, regretfully.
I desperately wanted to learn how to skateboard as a child. There are a lot of things I wanted to do as a child, but first of all, I'm not athletically inclined, and second of all, it was like probably a combination of like my parents being like, no, you are not getting a skateboard. And also my brother being like, no, I'm not having my dumb little sister follow me around the neighborhood on a skateboard.
How much older than your brother is you?
I don't think...
That was a weird... that sentence didn't quite come out right.
I completely understand what you were asking, but I don't think that was... I don't think that followed any form of English syntax.
How much older than you is your brother?
It still sounds ridiculous. He's 6 years older than me.
Gotcha. Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah. He's old enough that as a child he ran over my foot with a golf cart, and he didn't. It was like one of those sibling constant battle relationships, basically.
Right. A golf cart? Where did he get a golf cart?
No, I'm coughing. We were visiting our grandma who lives in a condo at the beach, and she had a golf cart to go like back and forth from her condo to the beach. And he was old enough, I guess, that it was like fun to, I mean, it's always fun to drive a golf cart, but he was old enough that I guess it was like a fun let's see, I was probably, I don't know, maybe 7. So he was probably like 13, I guess, when this happened. So obviously not old enough to have a driver's license or anything, but old enough that my parents were like, yeah, sure, you're responsible enough for this. And then we like stopped at a parking lot or something, and I hopped off the back or whatever. And I guess he didn't know or just didn't care. And he started moving forward and he ran over my foot.
Oof.
And it was a barefoot foot, too, because I didn't have shoes on.
I can confirm, though, it never stops being fun to ride a golf cart or to drive a golf cart.
Oh, they're so fun.
Yeah, absolutely. I like play golf. Well, not that often, but from time to time. And it still never stops being fun. So I feel that. Okay, let's get back to Clue.
Yeah, Clue.
So why do you love this movie so much? Tell me about it. So you requested that we do this movie.
Yeah.
And by request, I mean you sort of like joked and were just like, we could do Clue. And I was like, you know what? That sounds like a great idea.
So first of all, Tyler texted me on Tuesday asking if I could record that night and said, what movies have you seen recently? Which I was like, I'm totally willing to jump in and record, and that'll be awesome. However, I'm the worst person to ask because I generally don't watch a lot of movies. They're just like too long for me. I don't know why. My brain I much prefer TV shows as opposed to, then again, all that being said, I say that movies are too long for me, and yet I will easily watch several episodes of Parks and Rec just back to back to back for like 3 hours, which is longer than a movie. But anyway, I was like, well, the only movies I've seen recently is Home Alone 2, because it was randomly on TV when I was babysitting the other night. And I know you all have feelings about Home Alone for some reason, but we won't get into that.
Right.
And yeah, I jokingly was like, yeah, Clue. Just, I don't know. I think because every now and then I'll remember a movie that I haven't seen in a while, but I remember enjoying immensely. And that's what it was like for this movie. I'd probably have only watched it start to finish, probably like 2 or 3 times, and all the other times I've seen it have either been like it's randomly on TV and I come across it halfway through, or I just like look up clips on YouTube just because I remember it. I'm like, you know what, I could use a good chuckle.
Right.
But yeah, I didn't think you would be like, yeah, let's do Clue. So here we are.
Oh, I love this movie. I absolutely love this movie. I love this movie. I love just this whole genre in general. I did just watch the Netflix original movie Murder Mystery.
What are your thoughts?
It was absolute garbage.
Okay, thank you, because I've heard from I haven't watched it, but I've heard from multiple people. They're like, yeah, it's like Clue, but with Jennifer Aniston, and is she the one in it?
Yeah.
And I don't know, and I'm like, there's
Adam
no way
Sandler
it can be like
is the
Clue.
guy you're looking for.
Yeah. They're like, yeah, it's like a modern adaptation of Clue. And I'm like, yeah, right. We'll see. Just because, I mean, it's like I said, I feel like they don't make these like they used to. It's like very underrated, dry humor that if you're not paying attention, you miss it. And that's, sucks to suck. Whereas like modern comedy movies will drag out like jokes forever. And basically like,
yeah, they don't make a ton of good comedies anymore, like just straight comedies.
Yeah. And the other thing, like comedies nowadays treat the viewers like they're dumb. I love a good, smart comedy.
Well, I love a comedy where it's like, if you don't get the joke, move on.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, we're not going to beat you over the head with it. And Clue had a few moments where they beat you over the head with the joke. For the most part, it's like, if you didn't hear it, you didn't catch it, just, sorry, gone.
Yeah. Or you did like I did, and you would rewind it 5,000 times just to try and make it make sense in your head. Like the 1 + 2 + 2 + 1 thing. I've tried to work that math out.
Well, of course, then it would be 1 + 2 + 1 + 1, not 1 + 1 + 2 + 1.
No, it's not. Then it would no, but that's where you're wrong, because it's 2 + 1 + 2. But even so, then it would be 1 + 2. Shut up! Like,
as I told you, there was no other shot in that gun.
I tried so hard to like work that math out in my head and follow along. And as I was, so I knew that bit was coming up at the end. And so as the movie was going along, I was trying to keep track of, okay, when was the gun fired?
5 times.
Yeah. So there was one left.
Yes.
But,
it was 1 + 1 + 2 + 1.
1 plus 1 plus 2. See, now I'm doing it, and I'm not even meaning to do it. But,
So there was the shot that went off to Gray's body's ear.
Yeah.
And then there was the shot into the chandelier, and there was 2 shots in the door, and then 1 into the...
oh, was it 2 into the door?
The singing telegram. It's 2 into the door, yeah.
I am your singing telegram. And then just
done.
Door close. That's so good. I love how throughout the night they just get more and more like, yeah, this is fine. Like when
just checking, everything's fine. 2 corpses.
2 corpses, it's all good. And then when they like discover
amount of corpses.
They discover Yvette is dead, and they just kind of like really dejectedly like turn around, and then they like just keep discovering they keep discovering the bodies. And then Wadsworth or something goes, someone's like, oh, so that's 3 more murders. And someone goes, 6 altogether. And then Wadsworth goes, this is getting serious. Like it wasn't already serious with the first dead body.
Oh, God, I just opened my phone to check a freaking notification. The first thing I opened to is a Facebook ad for One Wheels. They're always listening.
They're listening. It is always, I think every single time I've recorded anything, like any episode, almost without fail, I'll check I'll get on Instagram afterwards and there's an ad for whatever I talked about, which is deeply terrifying. It's like, there's, I don't know, some tweet or whatever, and it's like, you know what's fun? When you get an ad for something that you just thought about for half a second in the middle of your day, and you didn't even voice that thought aloud to anyone, and you didn't Google search it, and you didn't go buy it in a store. Isn't that fun? How they know our thoughts now.
I don't know if it's fun. It does definitely help.
Does it?
Is the thing. Like it's I don't know if I call it fun, but it definitely helps. Like, cause I get ads all the time where like, cause I wouldn't say I'm a sucker necessarily, but like I like to buy like decent, I would prefer to buy something decent quality from like an internet startup than like to try to get the cheapest thing possible. And I would also rather do that than support like huge, ginormous businesses. Because it's like, if I can get something cool from like a cool company with cool people behind it, like I'm happy about that. And so the ad targeting helps me find those things a lot. Like recently I was like looking for a duffel bag because I don't apparently own one that doesn't have a gigantic hole in it. And I forgot about that. And I was leaving for a trip and I was like, man, I could really use a duffel bag.
Duct tape, my friend.
Duct tape was not fixing this hole, sweetheart. Not a chance. And you see, that's the thing, is I needed it to be like robust so I could throw it in the back of a van and not have it explode. So I ended up having to take my actual like hard side suitcase, which was not the ideal scenario for like a tour.
Oh, you went on tour? I hadn't heard. Sorry.
Oh my God. Why is everyone like this? Let me live. I'm sorry, I'm doing fun things.
I know. No, you really are. And I'm so, as someone who like can't afford to go anywhere, I'm just immensely jealous. And I'm like,
you know what was the best thing? Things. You know what was the best thing about going on tour? I got to travel and I got paid to do it.
Well, that's fun for you.
Yeah, it's called a marketable skill.
I have none of those. Continue with your ad.
It's not an ad. I'm not gonna. Okay, so I have not received the product yet. But I did buy one.
So you haven't even
bought one. I definitely bought one. I have not received the product yet. Therefore, I cannot give it an advertisement. You'll probably see, not an advertisement, but a review in the vlog coming up. But anyway, it was like, man, I could use like a cool, efficient, lightweight duffel bag that's not gonna explode on me. And Facebook is like, hey, have you tried this company? And I was like, okay, fine.
See,
You know what, Facebook? Well played.
All ads do is make me feel bad about the things that I've looked up, but that I can't afford. So, like...
See, here's the thing, though. If I click on the ad and I like the thing...
I can't believe you click on ads. It's, like, against my... I don't know.
Actually, TBH, I don't click on Facebook ads. I click on Instagram ads. I trust Instagram, which I know that they're the same company, but like if it's a thing that I can see that like it's right in front of me, that I'm like, ooh, I like this thing. I'll click on the ad and then just like look at the actual product. Then if I decide I'm going to buy it, I will close the app and then go to the actual website because I'm not giving Instagram that money.
I'm kind of in the mindset of, I don't know, like when the huge scandal came out that like, oh, Facebook is secretly tracking all of your information and giving it out to advertisers and companies. And I'm like, yeah. And this is supposed to be new information, or like I'm just in the mindset of like, yeah, the internet has all of our information now, and what do you want to do about this?
Yeah, it's like, did we not know this?
Yeah, like, although one of the funniest things that came out of that whole scandal was I guess it was Senate or someone, I don't know, politicians were asking like Mark Zuckerberg about like Google or whatever. And someone was like, so let's say I Google search something. How does the person who shows me the search results decide what they're gonna show me? And he was like, it's not actually a person sitting on the other side of Google showing you search results. It's a machine run by algorithms. And
that's the terrifying thing.
Yeah, that like our politicians don't know how technology works. I feel like I always go down that route.
You? Politics? Never.
No, not that route. I'm saying, I don't know, just dark humor. Maybe that's why I like this movie, because it's also a lot of dark humor. I mean, it's based on murder, so...
That's true. It's based on a board game. Let's talk about that for a second. That has so rarely worked. You remember the Battleship movie? That was terrible.
I don't, but I remember it coming out and being like, I don't want to see that movie.
Yeah, I watched it like on Netflix, I think. I just remember it being extant in the world. But it's like Clue has such an interesting premise for a board game, because it's like, figure out who did it and with what weapon. And it's like, and I know they do this in the movie, but it's like, if I'm locked in a house with 6 people and a dead body, I'm pretty sure I can figure out whether or not that person has been shot.
It depends on what ending you're going by, because if you're going
I'm not talking about the movie. I'm not talking about the movie. I'm talking about the board game. The premise of the board game Clue, in that you're not allowed to look at the body to tell whether or not it's been
if there's a dead
or
body.
not.
Yeah, it's like it would be pretty obvious if there's either a bullet wound, B, a head trauma, C, strangulation, bruises around the neck.
The options are the gun, the revolver, the rope, the lead pipe, the wrench, the knife,
candlestick,
and the candlestick.
So you've got 4 out of, let's see, the rope, the pistol. So the rope, the pistol, and the knife.
You have 3 blunt objects.
Yeah, that would be, head trauma. And then the other ones are like, does he have multiple stab wounds?
Was he stabbed? Was he hanged? Or was he shot? Okay, well, let's rule those 3 things out pretty freaking quickly. And also, if he was stabbed or hanged or shot, you knew it wasn't the lead pipe or the wrench or the candlestick.
Exactly. When was the last time you played Clue?
Let's see.
Because for me, it was probably
July
high
12th.
school. You can literally point to a date that you
July
played
12th,
Clue.
2019. It was either July 12th or... Nope, sorry, it was July 5th.
I'm just staring in astonishment that you know exactly what
It was July
date.
5th that I played Clue.
Well then, never mind. I was just going to make a joke about but when was the last time you played Clue anyway? Because mine was probably 6 years ago. And I'm pretty sure then we didn't even finish it. Oh no, I can tell you when the last time I played Clue was. It was when I was babysitting, and the children I was with did not understand how Clue is played. And they just spent the whole game trying to get, they're like, it's Professor Plum with the knife. And I'm like, no, it's not, because I have the knife card. And they're like, yeah, but it could still be Professor Plum with the knife. And I'm like, it's not the knife, because I have the knife. So if I have the knife card, then that means that it is not in the secret envelope. And they're like, but it could be. And I'm like, fine, it's Professor Plum with the knife. Let's play categories. I don't know.
See, I don't remember playing Clue as a child. I'm sure I did, but I don't have specific memories of not understanding how Clue worked as a child. I do have specific memories of not understanding how Clue worked when I was drunk, and that's pretty much the same thing.
Yeah, that's true. That's why it's also, I think, been a long time since I've played Monopoly as well, because that kind of operates by the same rules of, it's a little bit difficult to keep, because I don't know about you, but I usually only play games or card games or whatever, like when I'm hanging out with my friends, and usually there's drinking involved. And by that point, it's like the only thing you can do is play What Do You Meme? Because anything with like context-based clues or critical thinking skills is just out the window at that point. So
oh no, see, that's what we do. Is I have a group of friends where we get together and play very, very complicated board games. Whilst inebriated.
That just sounds like my version of the bad
Although
place.
it has backfired in the past, because like we tried to play Settlers of Catan once and just got way too drunk for it. And nobody understood what was happening.
Oh man, have you ever played Quelf?
I have not.
It's a nonsense game, and it's one of those games that you're like, this would be fun with drunk people, and then you play it with drunk people, and you just end up shouting at everyone because it has all of there are cards every now and then that you might pick up it'll create like a rule for the group or for the person who drew the card. So one of the rules might be like, you have to point to the person who is talking. And if you don't do that, then you move back a space. And it just turns into like everyone forgetting the rules and everyone just like yelling at each other about like, but you didn't do the rule. Well, we picked a new rule. No, that was last round. Or maybe that's just my friends. I don't know. Maybe we just get very argumentative when we're all drunk.
I mean, definitely. And like I don't love the like, I'm kind of over it at this point, the games like
Cards Against Humanity
and What Do You Meme, where it's like super subjective like that.
I will say I am a beast at What Do You Meme.
But that's the thing, is you can't be good at that game because you always have that one total whack person in the group that's like, I'm not gonna pick the funny thing, I have this very specific sense of humor and I'm kind of dumb.
See, the thing about those games is that you don't play what you think is funny. You're supposed to play what you think the judge will think is funny.
Right, and that's the thing, is like I'm always playing those games with like a mixed group of like people I know and some total strangers.
Oh yeah.
And the total stranger always picks stupid things.
Cards Against Humanity. I will forever and always associate Cards Against Humanity with college orientation week, slap week, where where you just show up and you get slapped.
What did that stand for? Summer Leadership Adventure Program?
Perfect.
Was that it?
Yeah, that sounds great. It's like,
oh man, I did not do that. I was not in PLP.
I did that for 1.5 semesters because my parents are like, well, you're getting some scholarship money. I was getting like $500 a semester. And they're like, but you don't know. I was like, I don't want to have a leadership minor. Okay. Listeners, there's this program at our school called PLP, which stands for President's Leadership Program. It's one of those things that every now and then I'll see someone write about the PLP program, which is the President's Leadership Program. But anyway, and you have to have a leadership minor. And I remember telling my parents that I didn't want to study leadership. And they were like, well, you don't know until you get there. And I was like, I don't want to study leadership. And then sure enough, I took leadership classes. I was like, I don't care about this. And then I dropped out of the program because
that has to have the worst retention rate of any college like program in anywhere.
I mean, well, the other thing is that it has like insane amount of community service hours attached to it, like required hours that you have to get, and like all this other stuff. If I recall, I think I remember. Oh, it was. I don't know if they actually did this or not. I think it was like my junior or senior year. They changed it so that if you join the PLP program as a freshman, you have to stay with it all 4 years. Like you can't.
Yeah,
drop
they're trying
out of
to do that with a lot of things, like making people stay on campus all 4 years, and also not allowing homecoming to be a night game because they hate tailgating.
Oh my God, that was. Do you want to talk
Still
about?
Still mad.
That was a long day when you start drinking at 8 a.m. for a 1 p.m. football game. And then you're like passed out asleep at 4 p.m. taking a nice afternoon nap.
Homecoming should be a night game. We built lights for a reason. Hey, at Kevin Hughes, if you're listening to this, let's talk, buddy. Give me a call.
We should have a podcasters of CNU table at Homecoming. You, me, Tyler, M. Schultz from That's Why We Drink. Who else? I don't know who else is at CNU who has a podcast now, but...
I have no idea.
Are you going to Homecoming this year? I don't even know when it
probably.
is. Oh, that's funny because I was going to say, probably not.
Tyler and I are going. That's the plan. I mean, he's about to have a kid, so things could always change.
Well,
and I'm constantly getting offers to go on tour and do things, so that could also change. I have no idea. Probably. That's the plan right now.
Well, he also has a fun incentive to go this year because he has a baby that now he can show off and be like, look at this cute, tiny bundle. Isn't it amazing? Man, babies are insane. I think every now and then I have an out-of-body experience where I'm like, another human grew a human inside them. And now there is another human, but smaller, in the world.
Yeah, that's how we all got here.
So
not a single one of us was dropped off by aliens.
Aliens is just always kind of my like cop out for everything. And also right now I'm thinking of have you seen there are these comics on like Twitter and Instagram and Facebook of the aliens? And it'll say like there was one that he posted this morning and it was like a baby alien taking its first step and it's like, the being is wobbly. Yes, the being has a small head. Aw, why are you so cute? It's because he has a big head. And it just...
yes, I know what you're talking about.
Yeah. I did a bad job of explaining those comics, but they're great. Who is it by? It's like, I want to say it's like Nathan Pyle or something.
I don't remember.
It is Nathan W. Pyle. Look up those comics, folks, because they're really fun. Follow him on Instagram.
Yeah, do that.
So, Clue.
I don't know what to say about it. So, what is your favorite part of this movie? Which ending do you like the best?
Ooh, good question. I think I like the, now I'm mixing up my endings. I like the ending where they all did it, basically. Like, they each murdered someone, and then Wadsworth...
So the last one.
Yeah, I think it's the last one where Wadsworth ends up getting shot, and Mr. Green is secretly an FBI agent undercover or something. I might be mixing up my endings, but that one's good. What about you?
I actually like the first one. I generally tend to side with the one that's the most like neat and tidy.
Yeah, that one is. What is it?
So
That's,
I really like that one.
That's Miss Scarlet, right?
Yes.
Yeah, frankly, Miss Scarlet, I don't give a damn. That's it, yeah.
Yeah.
And then the other ending is Miss Peacock. Oh, so the Miss Peacock ending actually was originally much darker. And you can see like where they cut it to make it fit better. So originally the Mrs. Peacock ending was supposed to end with her getting shot and she dies. But they decided that was way too dark. So instead they cut it to right before she gets shot. And they added in these like off-screen voices of her saying like, don't touch me, I'm a senator's wife. And then the policeman saying, take her away, boys. And then when it cuts back to the policeman, you can still see the smoke hanging in the air from the gunshot.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, you're exactly right. Yeah. I did notice that. Like, I don't think it like quite clicked in my brain, but... Yeah.
Knowing that before I watched that ending again this time... it's a really abrupt cut between the like FBI agent who comes to talk to them about Jesus Christ. Your souls are in danger. Our lives are in danger, you beatnik. God, that line just cracks me up. Anyway, and yeah, it's a really abrupt cut because he like turns around and points the gun at her and then it cuts away, I think, to like a wide shot or something of the house or whatever.
Yeah.
And then apparently there was this other, so like I said, they filmed 6 endings, and one of them was that like Wadsworth did it, and he actually secretly poisoned everyone with slow-acting poison, and then he sneaks off, and everyone else just dies, and the producers were like, well, that's way too dark for this movie.
Right. So, like, they showed, when it was in theaters, they only showed one ending per showing.
Yeah. Yeah, that was...
So, like, there was people, I think it was my mom that told me this, but there was people that would, like, go to different theaters in town to see different endings.
Yeah, I was like,
Which is just absolutely brilliant.
Yeah, I was looking it up, and like they would advertise children back in the day before Fandango.com listed showtimes for everything. You had to look it up in the newspaper, and the newspaper would list like what are the names? Regal Cinema 23, Clue 2:00, ending B. And it would list it as like ending A, ending B, ending C. Yeah, so people could go see it multiple times and get the different endings.
Which still didn't work because it only made $14 million.
Yeah, I guess.
Can you imagine if they freaking, if Avengers Endgame had 3 different endings?
I'm trying to think of like what the other endings could have possibly. Oh wait, well there's an entire YouTube channel based off of this, how it should have ended.
Yeah, but like, can you imagine if they had 3 different endings and you knew that? It's like, it would have made $5 billion.
Yeah. Well, that's another thing is that like the only, so like for example, the post-credit scenes in Marvel, people really only started, like, those only got more popular and more, like, well-known about because, like, people would post on social media and be like, oh, did you see the post-credit scene for blah, blah, blah? It was hilarious when that happened or whatever. And people would say, oh, there was a post-credit scene. Let me go back and see it. But when Clue came out in 1985, there probably weren't a lot of people saying like, oh, posting on the internet that didn't exist at that point, I suppose, and saying like, oh, I got this ending. What ending did you get? I don't know. I wonder how different it would be if it came out this time around to get like social media buzz about all the different endings. Got it. I was going to say something else, but I don't remember. Oh, I personally just think it's really clever that they decided to do all the different endings because I think if there had just been one final ending, I would be like, well, wait, then it doesn't make sense when this happened and this person said this, that doesn't match up with this ending. So I like how they wrote 3 different endings because there's so much going on in this movie and so many characters and things happening in the background that like, it's totally plausible that it could have happened all these other ways.
For sure. And it's like, you can't go back and like determine which one was which. They don't show you enough shots to like determine which was the proper ending.
Yeah, exactly.
And I get that they went with like, here's how it really happened, but it's like it's a pick your own adventure kind of movie.
Yeah, that would be fun.
And I thought about it halfway through because I couldn't remember exactly how it happened in like the like DVD release or whatever. But I thought about it halfway through. I was like, wait, are they only going to show me one ending?
Yeah, that's what I was wondering too.
Like, I rented it on iTunes. Because like, can you imagine if you rent it on iTunes, you get one ending. If you rent it on YouTube, you get a different ending. If you rent it on Amazon, you get a different ending.
That's like, there was this episode recently, I say recently, I think it was like within the last year, of Welcome to Night Vale. And it involved some kind of time loop. And when they released it on different platforms, you got different endings for this episode of Night Vale. And so if you watched it, like if you listened to it on YouTube, you got a different ending. If you listened to it on Spotify, you got a different ending. If you listened to it, I think there were 3 or 4 different endings going around. And I remember thinking that's so cool that they did that. And also like very risky because people, like I had to go around and like I had to like go on Reddit and figure out like, wait, well, how many endings are there? And like all this other stuff. But
I don't remember that at all. I guess I didn't. I guess that was. I go through periods with Night Vale. Like, I'm always listening to Night Vale, but like I listen to it like once a year, basically.
What does that mean? Do you just not listen when all the episodes come out, like on the 15th? Yeah,
it's just I never remember to actually list. I never remember actually listen to them. So like I don't know. It's like I'll listen to like 10 episodes, right? And I'll go, which is like 6 months or 5 months or whatever, 6 months to take a break every 6 months. And then I'll go like 6 months later and listen to another 10 episodes. So like I'm not ever quite caught up.
Yeah, and the other thing recently that they're doing where they are having all of these, they have like an overarching plot line, like through line going through a handful of episodes. And sometimes I can't like, when it comes out on the 1st of the month and then the 15th of the month, I can't remember like what happened in the last episode.
And if it's 3 episodes... When it's 3 episodes, it's like the 1st of the month, the 15th of the month, and the 1st of the next month. So it's like if it says like 1 of 3, I'll go like watch it again. I'll go like wait.
Yeah. It's episode 133, by the way, called Are You Sure? And if I recall, it starts off with Cecil, I don't know, he talks about like he doesn't remember what happened and has something to do with time. It came out, almost a year ago, September 11th, 2018. So, but yeah,
Sure?
I thought it was very clever and very, I don't know, just like unique and interesting that Night Vale decided to do different endings and have them on different platforms. Cause it made it like made it more fun and interactive, basically, that like you had to, go seek out the other, episodes. And I guess from a perspective of a podcaster, it also is a way to get people to listen on different platforms than they normally listen on.
Oh, definitely.
Let's see.
Yeah, I think that was exactly the time I stopped listening last year. Because the last episode I listened to was brought to you by Kellogg's, which was August 1st. That was around the time, and this might not be the thing you even noticed, but that was around the time that Cecil got a new microphone, and I hate it. It sounds different, and it cuts off the bottom end of his voice, and I really want to just like email Joseph Fink and be like, hey, guy, can you fix it, please?
I started re-listening to episodes, like I started at the beginning, and he talks, so the episodes now compared to at the beginning, now he talks so much slower and his voice is so much deeper. It's insane, to the point where I was like, I'm listening to the old episodes and I'm like, oh my gosh, I would listen to the old episodes like multiple at a time, and then a new episode would come out and I'd be like, this is so slow moving. What is going on? And like, I thought I was listening at half speed or something.
Nope. I did get to see them live, which was awesome.
Oh, that's right. You met one of them, didn't you?
We met Cecil. Yeah.
Or Tyler did.
We met
both
Cecil.
Of you did.
We both did. But we got to see the live show for The Spy in the Desert, and it was amazing.
I don't remember I don't remember anything about any plots of Welcome to Night Vale.
The live shows are completely separate.
Oh, that's right. They have, a different show that goes on tour.
That's the current tour they're touring right now. It's coming to Charlottesville next month.
Cool.
But the live shows are super rad. But that was the last time I even when I got back from PodCon, I was like, I should listen to Night Vale, and then I just didn't.
It was actually, no, that's a lie. I was gonna say it was the podcast that got me into podcasts, but the podcast that got me interested with podcasts was Mugglecast, I think.
For me, it was the very generic answer of Serial. That was the first podcast that I listened to, and then I was like, man, I need more of these podcast things. And I knew Tyler listened to Night Vale, so I was like, I'm going to try that.
Yeah, man.
And here we are.
There is nothing I don't know. It was just what a weird cultural moment to be in, where the thing that everyone was talking about was a podcast.
And there will just never quite be anything like season 1 of Serial ever again.
Yeah, exactly. And I don't know. It's funny because it completely spurred, it made everyone want to do a podcast or listen to podcasts or whatever. And then it also created this new genre of true crime. But the thing is that, because everyone who has who does a true crime podcast now or whatever, I'm making this all up because I don't have a true crime podcast, but I'm imagining that people who created true crime podcasts that follow a single story or murder case are going off of oh, well, people responded so well to Serial because that's true crime. Let's do true crime. Let's do a murder case. But the thing that made Serial good is that it's NPR, and NPR is really good at storytelling and audio storytelling, and that's why it was so good.
Produced by Ira Glass, so it was never going to fail.
Yeah, exactly.
It wasn't bad.
It wasn't that oh, this is a true crime podcast and that's why it did well. It did well because it was created and told.
Because it was
so
NPR
good.
doing what NPR does well.
Yeah.
But just on a new medium. People are like, oh my God.
Yeah.
It's you can get this all the time, 24 hours a day, if you just turn on NPR.
Yeah. Which I've started becoming one of those people who listens to NPR now, or at least at work. I'll have it on in the background if I'm I don't really feel like listening to music, but I don't want to sit in silence. So yeah, I'll have the news on. Makes me feel like a cultured, knowledgeable person.
Okay, so let's bring it back real quick. Before we wrap up.
Yes.
You've said this is your current favorite movie a couple times during this episode. Say I'm a person who has, because this is definitely going to happen, and there are people that are going to feel really called out right now. Say that I'm a person who is listening to this episode of Bacon and Eggs, but has never seen Clue, okay?
Yeah.
Why should I go watch Clue right now?
Sure. Well, first of all, I should say that I would imagine that there are a lot of people listening, or people who probably might not even listen to this episode because they haven't seen Clue. Because I don't think it was.
They hold on. Here's the problem though, is those people are not about to hear what you're about to say.
I mean, the people who are
the people who are not listening to this episode are not hearing you.
It's not a stretch to assume that a lot of people haven't seen Clue, because it's not a popular movie. It's definitely one of those cult classics. So if you are listening now and you haven't seen Clue, it's not at all like surprising, or like it's insane nowadays when you hear people say, oh, you haven't even seen a single Harry Potter movie. Clue isn't like that. If you haven't seen Clue, totally understandable.
Yeah, there's going to be a lot of people who have not seen Clue. And therefore, there are people who won't listen to this episode. But that's okay. There are definitely going to be people who are listening and have not seen Clue. So tell them why they should see it.
First of all, I appreciate that it's on the shorter end of movies. So it's not going to take up like your entire night. It's not going to take up your day. It's just a nice period of time to sit and relax and watch an hour and a half long movie.
It's 96 minutes. Yeah, we stan.
They do. Yeah, like I said, they don't make them like they used to. The comedy is very quick. It's a nice mixture of very obviously funny moments with dry humor. There's lots of slapstick and physical comedy. And Tim Curry is amazing in this as well. He is just like, you can just tell when he got this role, he was like, I'm going to give it my all. And it totally reads that way.
For sure.
But I just remember, like, the physical comedy in this movie is it is of another time. Like, they don't really make physical comedy movies anymore, I don't think. I can't think of anything that, I can't think of any, recent comedies or movies that have come out that have been a lot of physical comedy.
No, they leave that to animation now, which is crazy.
Yeah. But, like, anyway, it made me want to, like, watch a live, like, play version of this movie, because it's also like a great ensemble of cast members that it's like, what do they call them? It's like a box episode where you have put the entire cast, which are all awesome, and you put them all in this one enclosed space and watch them go, basically. That's my pitch for this movie. That being said, I mean, it's definitely, you can tell it's an older movie. Like, there's lots of, like, kind of corny sound effects, and Yvette's costume, you have to just get over that immediately, because it's so outrageous. Like, how we were talking about, like, the Spirit Halloween sexy costumes. It looks like they went to a Spirit Halloween store and got a maid's outfit.
For sure.
But, like, it's just, I don't know. It's just a good, enjoyable time.
Yeah, it definitely is. I'm definitely a fan. I thoroughly enjoy this movie.
Good. I'm glad I harassed you on Discord and convinced you to do this. No. I like this movie. You wouldn't have had to convince me. Well, it was just funny because I was going back. We were talking in Discord about how in the early days of our group message, we sent a lot of that one GIF of Dwight from The Office with the mannequin face on his face. And Tyler took a screenshot of all of the images in our group message, and I was scrolling through trying to find something else. And there's this one period where I just sent a plethora of Clue GIFs. And I think I also did that in our Discord server as well, which you can join for $3 a month. And I was like, I know I'm like overkill at this point, but I'm having a good time sending all of these Clue GIFs. I don't care if no one else is having a good time.
Fair. So let's go ahead and wrap this up.
Yes.
Let's
How do we wrap this up?
I don't know. This is so weird being on this episode without Tyler. I haven't done this in so long. It's been since like December 2017. Anyway, we gotta do a villain ranking which is going to be confusing.
Because
we have to put it on the big board, and we have to give it a breakfast food.
Okay, right. Villain ranking. Who knows? Question mark.
Right, that's the real thing, is like, who's the villain here? The villain is communism.
No, my dear, communism was just a red herring.
The villain was the American threat of communism in the 1950s.
Which that was a huge problem in terms of real world villains.
The real villain here is Joseph McCarthy.
I thought you were... I thought one of the actors was named Joseph McCarthy. And I was like, who are you talking about?
No, negative.
I don't know. It depends on what ending you're going with. Because I think, like, Wadsworth being a villain, great villain. I mean, is he on a spectrum of Thanos? No. But it's a classic, the butler did it villain kind of a thing. But
I'm a butler. I buttle. Is that even a word?
I mean, there's like when you debate, there's rebuttal. So I guess argument.
Yeah, to buttle means to work as a butler.
Oh, that's great. That's an actual word. I don't know. Do we have to give an official villain ranking?
Oh God! Do not look up the word buttle on Urban Dictionary. Jesus Christ Almighty!
I'm doing it.
Don't do it. Don't do it. And do not say anything you see out loud.
Oh, jeez. Jeez.
Do not say anything out loud. Just leave it. Listener. Hey, listener.
I will say the second definition.
Let's get personal and NPR here for a second. This is Ira Glass telling you, do not do that.
The second definition, however, is correct. It says, what a butler does when he works. So.
He buttles.
Breakfast food. Monkey brains?
No,
that's the meal they have, right?
Yeah, but that's a soup and like...
I don't know, breakfast
Though
food.
it's popular in Cantonese cuisine, it's not often found in Washington, D.C. A nice cheese pizza.
Breakfast food. I don't know. I'm thinking like a bowl of like... a bowl of like Cookie Crisp cereal, where it's an older cereal. It's not exactly nutritional. Is it going to get you through the day? Not really, but it's fun.
So which cereal?
I said Cookie Crisp.
Did you?
Yes, I did.
I missed that. I was busy looking up gifs of Tim Curry saying cheese pizza.
Yes, Cookie Crisp.
There's not one.
Which I
Cookie Crisp.
was only allowed to eat as a child when we went on vacation to our, when we did our, like, summer beach trip.
Have you ever gone back as an adult and, like, gotten the cereals that you used to eat when you were a kid and just been absolutely appalled by them?
Well, I still to this day eat Cocoa Puffs, so...
Cocoa Puffs are a refined flavor. They're a gentle smattering of chocolate. No, sorry, no, not Cocoa Puffs. I was thinking Cocoa Krispies.
Cocoa Krispies are good for about here's the other thing about like all the other Rice Krispie cereals is that they're good if you can eat them within 2 minutes, because as soon as the milk sets in, that's it. It's like you're eating a wet tissue.
Do you know there are people that eat dry mini wheats?
I've had them as like a snack.
I have not. Those need milk.
Like, yeah, I've packed them like back when I would lifeguard and stuff. They would be like my snack throughout the day and just have a Ziploc bag and eat like one or two, and that's it. I ate a lot. We also, growing up, like ate a lot of dry cereal just as like an afternoon snack. Like it was chips or something. My brother was obsessed with honeycomb, and which they don't have anymore, but like to the point where my sister and I weren't allowed to eat the honeycomb cereal.
There are things that are not on this list, Tyler.
What?
I'm looking at our big board.
Oh yeah.
And there are things that are missing, and also it's hard to tell where things go because every movie is listed as 3 except them.
Is that from the National Treasure episode? Or National Treasure 2? No, 1.
Yeah. Which is National Treasure 2 is not listed here.
Hang on. Something happened with my headphones. Go ahead, start speaking again.
I said National Treasure 2 is not listed here.
Oh, okay.
which is the problem.
Which is ironic, because that's when you renamed the numbers, right? With the 3,
Yeah.
the beer. What was that in? Ohio or something?
Old Milwaukee,
That's it, Milwaukee.
which is Wisconsin. Anyway, so the big board. Is this better than Venom?
I don't know. I haven't seen Venom. I'm assuming yes.
Yes, it is. There's
gonna go with
Venom's
yes.
listed as number 52 because we will not rank a movie lower than Venom this year.
Good.
We refuse. Is it better than Pokemon, the first movie, Mewtwo Strikes Back?
Yes.
Is it better than Transformers?
Yes.
Is it better than The Crimes of Grindelwald?
Yes. Oh, no.
Is it better than the Lego Movie 2, the second part?
Yes.
Is it better than Detective Pikachu?
I'm making wild claims because I've seen about half of these movies. Yes. Just keep going.
That's tough. It's not better than National Treasure, so you lose there.
No, it's better than National Treasure.
It's not better than National
What's
Treasure.
above National Treasure?
Ralph Breaks the Internet.
I don't think Ralph Breaks the Internet was like
It's not better than National Treasure. This
I
is
don't
my
think
show and I'm overruling you.
fine, but I don't think Ralph Breaks the Internet should be that high up.
That's not high up at all. There's like 25 movies above
I don't
it.
think. Look, I think National Treasure should be above Ralph, and then what movie are we doing? Clue should be above National. What's above Ralph?
So Ralph is number 29. Lego Batman.
Okay, no. Like I said, it's hard because those are all like modern new movies, and this is just like a completely different style of movie where it's just like a play basically. And I think it's on a different level. Like I said, it might be my current favorite movie. I don't know.
That's fine. It could be your favorite movie. That doesn't.
I'm a little bit biased in the ranking. Okay, fine.
I feel you.
I still can't believe
it's a good
you think
movie.
National Treasure
But I also
is
love
better
National
than
Treasure.
this.
Like,
oh my god,
I unapologetically love National Treasure. That therefore said it ranks number 30 on my list of movies this year. We've reviewed some banger films in 2019.
What's your favorite?
All four Toy Story movies are on this list. Freaking all of the Dark Knight movies are on this list. The Prestige is on this list. Endgame's on this list. Captain Marvel's on this list.
Oh, Captain Marvel.
Both of the Jordan Peele horror movies are on this list. Jurassic Park is on this list.
It's pretty good.
Yeah, it's a pretty good list. So it's okay to be number 32 on the list.
Y'all should do Jaws next summer for Shark Week.
We already did Jaws.
Just kidding.
We did it last year for Summer at Sea.
Oh, okay.
Which is right before back to school.
What do you have on the slate coming up?
No idea, because I don't know when Tyler's going to have a baby.
Well, he's not having the baby.
So it's complicated.
What would you, if you could have a dream slate coming up, what would be your dream movie to do next?
I have no idea. That's a big question. Especially since I'm the guy that gets to pick the movies for a little while.
Also,
and I have to pick movies to do with guests.
I cannot believe that when I was given the option to pick a movie, I did not choose Legally Blonde. I was thinking about it. I'm like, why did I not say Legally Blonde?
No offense, but we're gonna get like absolute ringer of a guest to do the Legally Blonde episode. That'll be a big one.
Are you getting Reese Witherspoon?
Maybe. Who knows? I'll certainly contact her people.
Are you saying I'm not a ringer of a guest, Ethan? No, I'm just kidding.
No, but you've already been on the show.
What? I have?
Yeah, several times.
When was that? I don't recall. I suddenly can't read.
You did Ocean's 11 with us, and you also were on like a week and a half ago.
Oh, I don't recall. Which, by the way,
episode that we did with Mike Schubert.
Yeah, listeners, if you have not listened to that episode, go and listen to it, because it was honestly one of the funniest things I've
that's the best thing we've ever done on this show.
It was so
for
fun.
Sure.
Oh my gosh, that was so fun. There are just so many things that happened. A lot happened. It was a quality time. So go listen to that.
Things happened.
It was
words were said.
Yes. Words were said. Yeah, that being said, don't listen in the car with your parents on the way to school. Unless
You're
your
so
parents
much more
are
concerned
really
about
cool.
this than anybody else is.
Because I just can't imagine listening to a podcast and that particular episode as like, I don't know, a 17-year-old and having just like play on the speaker on my phone, and then my parents walk in at the exact moment that someone says something so bad, and then you just have a moment where you stare at your mom and your mom stares at you.
First of all, Mary Clay, the final edition that got released is completely clean.
There are still so many things that happen.
Second of all, what kind of 17-year-old do you think listens to podcasts on their phone speaker out loud when their mother could walk in at any minute?
When they're getting ready for school in the morning. Ethan's shaking his head.
I don't think so.
Listeners, tweet at me. How do you listen
Mary
to
Clay,
podcasts?
Mary Clay, do you have any final thoughts?
This is a great movie. Tim Curry was great. I love the humor. And that is all.
Perfect. Well, where can we find you? Tell us about your show.
Oh, right. I have a podcast. It's part of the Bacon and Eggs network called That's What I'm Tolkien About, where I read Lord of the Rings for the first time. It's like Spark Notes, but more fun. You can catch that every Tuesday wherever you get podcasts, and you can also find it on Instagram and Twitter at Tolkien About Pod. And then you can find me on Twitter at MCWatt416 and on Instagram at MC_Turndown_Watt.
How far have you gotten so far?
Into the book. Today I'm about to read chapter 11. So
Ooh.
I'm almost, this is also just makes it unnecessarily confusing. The books are divided into books. So I am on chapter 11 of book 1 in Fellowship of the Ring. So I am almost halfway through Fellowship of the Ring. So kind of the quote unquote mid-season finale will be coming up within the next couple weeks.
Gotcha. That's so exciting.
Yeah.
All right. Anyway, well, I'm Ethan Edgehill, and you can find me on Twitter at EdgehillPhotos or on Instagram at EdgehillPhotos or on Twitter at Wow Now, but the O's are zeros. You can find the show at Bacon and Eggs Pod anywhere that podcasts are sold. Literally anywhere where Bacon and Eggs, a movie lovers podcast, new episodes every Thursday, wherever you get your podcasts, and now on Spotify. But you already know that. You're listening to this show. Thank you so much for listening to the show. If you want to support the show and support Mary Clay's show, you can go to patreon.com/baconandeggs and join the Patreon there, where you get access to our lovely, amazing Discord server for $3 a month. And you can come talk to either of us and Tyler when he's around, which is pretty much just as much as the rest of us for right now. And then probably never soon. We'll see. Anyway, you know how to find us. Our graphics are by Vaishon Brandon at graphite.vmb on Instagram, and our music is by the lovely Andrew Scott Bell at Andrew Scott Bell on Twitter and Instagram, or AndrewScottBellMusic.com. I've been Ethan Edgehill. She's been Mary Clay Watt, and until next week, arrivederci.
See ya!